What's up, airplane collectors? Welcome to a model airplane review. I'm your host, Ray. Today we will be taking a look at the 1 to 400 scale Delta Airlines Boeing 767-300ER made by NG Model, item number 17001, released in June of 2024. In this video, I'll do a review of the model. Afterwards, I'll list off the pros and cons, and I will decide whether or not I recommend it to other collectors. The box for this model is made from cardstock. The protective packaging on the inside is made from clear plastic. This box measures 16.5 centimeters long, 16 centimeters tall, and 5.5 centimeters wide. I will show you around the box now. This is the front. This is the bottom. Please excuse any background noise you might hear because my family does not understand the concept of lowering the volume on the TV. Anywho, that was the right side. This is the top. Here's the left side. And here's the back side. Included in the box is the model as shown here, fully assembled, painted, and ready to display. Also included is an NG Model Collector Rewards Program card seen on the top left, and a warning card seen on the top right. The purpose of this warning card is to inform you that there are small details on the fuselage that could hypothetically hurt you if you handled the model incorrectly, but in practice, it's exceedingly difficult to actually do any harm to yourself with these small details. We will go over them in depth later. Here's the model itself. We will do a quick 360 before I begin my review. The fuselage length for this model is 13.6 centimeters, the wingspan is 13.1 centimeters, and from the ground to the top of the vertical stabilizer, it is 4.1 centimeters tall. These dimensions are accurate to 1 to 400 scale. This model is made primarily out of die-cast metal. The wheels on the landing gear are made out of rubber. Let's begin with the fuselage. The nose shape of this model is not 100% accurate. I think the lower section here, like the radome, should be a bit further out, if that makes sense. Not pointier, but it should extend a bit further out. So right now the nose profile looks a little bit kind of scrunched or compressed, if you will. So that's the first thing I've got. But aside from that, there's a lot of detail, all of which looks pretty good, and it seems mostly accurate. So I'm now going to move down the fuselage. Uh-oh, what is that? Okay, I see what appears to be an imperfection of some sort. This looks like a paint chip. So I do see a small paint chip on the fuselage there. It's rather unusual to see. I'm not used to seeing that kind of defect from NG, but I guess that's the case there. Let's keep moving. Lots of detail, lots of small details, which is nice to see. And here's the rear of the fuselage. Here's the vertical stabilizer. The shape looks pretty good. I do see some recessed line detail for the rudder. It's very hard to see with the camera, but you can kind of see I'm tracing it with my pointer here. Looks pretty good. That's good to see. Paint application seems pretty consistent as well. Colors look good. The logo looks accurate. No complaints up here. Here is the right side of the aircraft. I don't see anything worthy of complaining about up here. No issues. This here, you might see there is some kind of like light tone here, as if there was like a paint scratch. That's just reflection from the gloss finish of the paint, so that's not an issue. Let's move down the right side. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for any paint chips like we saw on the left side, because that was quite unusual. Now you do see these small details here and here. Those are just printed details. They're supposed to be there. Those are not defects. Moving on to the wings. The wings on this model look pretty good. There's lots of detail on them. We have recessed lines for the control surfaces at the rear of the wing here, or the trailing edge. Uh-oh. Is that another paint chip? I think I see something there. Disregard, that was just a stain. Now, as I was saying, it's very nicely detailed up here. There is different shades of paint up here as well. We have the standard gray paint right here, and then we have the silver paint, which looks pretty good. It matches the stuff or it's a little bit different from the stuff on the leading edge here as well. So overall, solid job on the wings, aside from that stain that we just saw. Here's the right side. This looks pretty good as well. Now the underside of the wings, it actually does have the gray paint down here, well, the silver paint down here as well, so that's very nice to see. And I do see some evidence of either more staining or a chip here. Yeah, that's definitely a paint chip there. So I'm seeing small paint imperfections, but they're kind of starting to add up a little bit. Now, I would definitely like to discuss the winglets, because the winglets on this model, they're really not the greatest. In terms of their shape, I mean. The shape isn't really too good. I think this could use some work. like it's too pointy up here, and just overall the profile doesn't look too great. Here on the inside of on the right winglet, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The profile doesn't exactly match the 767. It's close, but it needs improvement. Now, I'd also like to talk about the paint on the leading edge of that winglet there. I can see some of the blue poking out from underneath, so paint application on this model seems to have gone a little bit south, at least on this piece. Here are the horizontal stabilizers, and we're at the rear of the aircraft. I think I do see some staining on the fuselage there as well. What is that? Oh boy. So apparently that staining I saw was a sizable glue stain. Wow, I have not seen that before. Jeez, I thought this model was pretty decent at first. That is definitely an issue I have not seen out of NG, out of any model manufacturer, even out of myself as an amateur scale modeler. That's kind of annoying. But anyway, back to the horizontal stabilizers. These look pretty good. Paint application on them seems good. Joint with the fuselage looks good as well. Here's the APU. It looks pretty nice. There's even an exhaust hole, which is tiny, but it's good to see that it's there. And here's the underside. Here are the engines on this model. The engines look pretty good. Look at the hot section there, the exhaust. That looks really nice. There's even some printed detail to denote some vent there. That looks good. The cowling shape looks good, and the fan detail looks excellent. It's painted a black metallic color, which looks fabulous. Now, there's not too much detail in the engines because there doesn't really need to be. You can see some printed detail in the form of placards and stuff there, and there's an engine strake on the inside. But again, not too much going on there because there doesn't necessarily need to be. So all is accurate on the engines. Let's discuss some of the 3D details. These are the details that the warning card is referring to that could potentially cause you harm. As you can see, these things are really tiny, and I could just poke my finger on them and they really don't hurt you. So unless you're really mistreating the model, these won't hurt you. But with regards to their accuracy, this antenna, it's pretty small, but its size is accurate. It looks good. Here's a sat dome. It's bonded nicely to the fuselage, and there's that paint chip we saw earlier. Oops, sorry. Now, these look pretty good. They are actually pretty much dead center on the top of the aircraft, so that's very nice to see. Something I just noticed, I should have talked about this when I was talking about the wings, but the wing seam here looks a little bit wide, a little bit too wide for me not to mention it. So the wing seam here with the fuselage could use some work. Here is the view of the bottom of the aircraft, and you might notice something right away that is rather unusual with this. There's something missing from here, right? Usually, Delta Airlines paints a large Delta logo with the Delta title in white paint underneath the aircraft, here on the blue underbelly. But actually, on this aircraft, registration N174DN, it looks like? Yeah, N174DN. This Delta logo is not there, so this is accurate. Now, with regards to aerial details, or 3D details rather, we have this singular antenna right here. It looks pretty good. Now, also, we have a lot going on in terms of printed detail, placards, doors, and stuff. All of that looks pretty good, and it is quite visible due to the contrast with the dark paint. The landing gear on this model is quite good. Here is the nose gear. It's the best view I can give you all the way in. The wheels, as mentioned earlier, are made out of rubber, and they do roll, so that's very nice. And the main gear also look pretty solid as well. I do see some of the strut gaps being filled by flash, but not by much. And once again, the main gear rolls nicely as well. Here's what it looks like from the side. Looks pretty solid. Don't really have any complaints about the landing gear. Here's the front of the aircraft. Engine clearance looks good. Wing flex looks good. Gear balance looks good. Vertical stabilizer might be angled off to the right side of the aircraft a little bit, left side of your screen. Horizontal stabilizer wing flex looks okay. Cockpit window printing, the shape of the cockpit looks decent, but the printing is asymmetrical, also bent slightly towards the right side of the aircraft. Okay, hold on, wait, that might be because of the box. Yeah, it's still kind of asymmetrical. So, yeah, a bit of asymmetry going on up here. That concludes my review. Now it's time for the pros and cons. So what does this model do well? Lots of printed detail, lots of small details that are hard to notice. That's nice to see. And this is also a brand new mold. This is the first release that NG has done on their 1-400, 767, 300 mold, to my knowledge. So that's also nice. It's new, if that makes sense. But in terms of cons, what does this model not do well? there's work that needs to be done. The nose shape isn't the greatest. Quality control definitely faltered. That glue stain on the rear of the aircraft, it's hard to see, but something like that should not be happening. That's quite a concerning thing. And also the winglets, the shape really needs work in my opinion. So in terms of a recommendation, I'm very hesitant to recommend it. I still do recommend it because it's a solid model, but there's definitely work that needs to be done. In terms of accuracy, it's mostly accurate, but like I said, things can be improved, and I seriously hope NG is taking the time to improve these things because I think this mold can be an excellent mold. They just need to get some of the kinks ironed out, and once they have that figured out, they'll be good to go. So once again, I do recommend it, but I'm very hesitant with my recommendation. In terms of competition from the market, though, I don't think there is anyone who can do it better in terms of both quality control and realism and accuracy. So this might be our only option for a while. Hopefully NG improves it though. Well, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my channel for more model airplane reviews and videos about the models that I collect. If you want to show the channel some support, feel free to like this video and subscribe so you never miss another video. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if you have any suggestions, I'm happy to take those. But that's all I have for today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Happy building, happy collecting. Stay tuned for more content, and take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.